Today, we have Pierre Wooldridge with us. He is the product designer for Forks Over Knives and also developed the Forks Over Knives recipe app, which has been a top app for the past 2 years. You can get it in the iTunes App Store and also Google Play. So, Pierre, it's really great to have you here.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me, guys. Yeah, good to connect with you.
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning. So what were some of the challenges you experienced while you were in the kitchen and trying to cook healthy meals, and how did you get into all this?
Oh yeah, all of them really, all of the above. Actually, interestingly enough, I was involved with Forks Over Knives after meeting Robbie. So we met one night and started talking, and I'd been doing app development for a number of years. And had always wanted to kind of build a recipe app to solve some of the obvious problems that I could see in the kitchen and using kind of other recipe apps out there. So we kind of conceived the idea for the original Forks Over Knives recipe app about three and a bit years ago, and it was a lot of fun to work on. The issues that I wanted to tackle then were finding a huge database of inspirational recipes very easy. Helping people figure out what to buy at the grocery store, and just lots of beautiful imagery, because I feel that's so important when you're about to cook something that you know how it could end up, kind of like it gives you kind of this passion for cooking. And recipe books and traditional kind of like websites don't do a very good job of that. So this originally got me started thinking about the app, and we launched the app and it did very well. And really what I found was that I was still having trouble deciding what to cook and making plant-based meals every evening. Even with I think it's like nearly 400 recipes in the app to choose from, it was kind of overwhelming to have that much choice. Some recipes took a long time, and really when I thought about it, I just want to have the ability to make something kind of in a rush at the end of a long day in about 30 minutes, know what I'm making, already have the ingredients in the fridge, and really not put too much thought into it, but just end up with something pretty delicious. And I think I think a lot of other people kind of like run into this issue too. And what we really saw in terms of feedback from the recipe app was that people love the recipes, but they were asking us to help them plan their meals. And it wasn't really the right format for it, because we have recipes in there that can be kind of like 2 hours long. But we really wanted to kind of start from the beginning with the meal planner and think about how we could provide people with a way to put meals on their table every night, with a good variety of flavors, textures, discovering tastes from around the world, and do all of this in 30 minutes or less. And it was a very tricky problem. And in order to start doing this, I actually just kind of like immersed myself in the world of meal planning and like meal delivery services too, which was pretty interesting. Tried a bunch of different things. And one of the interesting pieces that I found was actually my favorite thing was the meal delivery kits. I don't know if you guys have tried these things, but they kind of like ship a box of everything that you're going to need to your door. It's all prepackaged, it's cut, you don't have to do anything, and you just assemble it, and then you can make a meal at the end of the night. But it's really expensive, and it's very expensive. It's tricky to reuse the recipes, because often they put kind of sauces in there that you don't have access to. You don't have access to the full list of ingredients. And above all, it's kind of like it's expensive. It only helped you 3 nights in a week, and I felt there was a lot of waste. So I was thinking there has to be a way for us to kind of solve the problem of like meal planning in a way that's just kind of accessible to everybody, and allow you to kind of make low-fat, like whole food, plant-based recipes, every night of the week for your family, for yourself, when you have friends over. And that's kind of really where the idea for the meal planner came about. So I wanted to kind of really help myself in the creation of this product.
This is great. And actually, I think a lot of the struggles that you just described right there are things that maybe a lot of our audience is already feeling, or things that they will feel as they try to migrate towards a plant-based diet. Because whenever you change the way that you're eating, there's a whole bunch of logistical, like confusion that goes along with it. Where am I going to get my food? How often? How much do I have to buy? What am I going to prep? How am I going to make this work in my budget? So I think that the Forks Over Knives Meal Planner app is really like solving so many of those problems. So do you want to maybe give us like a walkthrough of how the app actually works?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
So we should probably add here, just for people who don't know, Forks Over Knives is a company that empowers people to live healthier lives by changing the way the world understands nutrition. So Forks Over Knives is the main sponsor for this summit. You've probably seen a lot of the free PDFs that you got from them when you signed up. So basically, Forks Over Knives has a website full of recipes, best-selling books, an online cooking course, and all this information, everything that is under the Forks Over Knives umbrella is information that empowers people to reverse insulin resistance. No question about it. It's a low-fat, plant-based diet. So everything that we're talking about here with the meal planner and the recipes is all stuff that applies for people who are trying to reverse their insulin resistance. So let's take a look at the meal planner.
So everything that you just kind of mentioned is exactly what we're trying to solve. So our goal here is to provide you with a meal planning service that works across like all of your devices. So it's just a website that you can access on your desktop, on your tablet, and on your phone. And it takes really all of the hard work out of deciding what to cook every week. So we have a team of chefs that are working really around the clock to come up with interesting recipes that can all be prepared in 35 minutes or less on a weeknight. So we'll provide you with a plan every week. I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of the homepage here. We're going to provide you with a smart grocery list. So any recipes that you have in your plan will automatically find their way into your grocery list. So you don't have to worry about kind of creating a list for your groceries that week. And one of the things that I really love that we're continuing to do a lot of work on actually is the weekend prep planner. And the idea here is that if you just take an hour to 2 hours on the weekend, you can do a lot of the really time consuming stuff, kind of like boiling grains or potatoes, starches, starchy vegetables, and just kind of do a lot of that kind of like easier or more labor intensive work on the weekends, and then actually get everything done on the weeknights within 30 minutes. So we recently actually just made the your first meal plan completely free. So should I walk you through kind of how to just sign up? It's pretty quick.
Yes.
Cool. You hit try a free meal plan. So I'll say Robbie B. Oh, I've got to spell that right. All right, cool. So you create your account. That's how long it takes. And then we ask you a couple of questions to help you personalize your plan. So the meal planner works whether you're an individual, whether you are a couple or a family. So I'm going to say that my wife and I will choose the couple plan. And we also specifically tailor the meal planner to different intolerances. So if you have a soy, gluten, or nut allergy, we will make sure that your recipes will never include any of those items, but I do not have any of those. So I'll just say view my plan. And this takes you through into the meal plan. And we're actually kind of like creating your plan in the background. There's a really nice little kind of intro video. I don't think we'll play it here, but that's something that will just kind of onboard you and explain how the planner works. But I'm going to take you kind of like through the main features now. But yes, so as you can see, this is kind of like your meal planning dashboard. You have your meal plan, your grocery list, and your weekend prep in the sidebar. So I'll just read it out. Your weekly plan is designed to save you time in the kitchen, eliminate wastage, and keep your health goals on track. You can swap or skip recipes. So the meal plan is designed to be flexible. So you can really kind of like mix it up. One of the interesting pieces of feedback that we found in our research, we actually surveyed over 1,000 Forks Over Knives subscribers. And one of the main pieces of feedback people found with other meal planners is that they were very rigid. And, you know, if you have friends over one evening, or if you don't like a certain recipe, you're kind of stuck and the whole meal plan breaks down. So one of the things that I'll show you shortly is that you can completely customize the plan to suit your needs. We also, if you prefer to print, we think everything should be digital. I think everything should be digital, but a lot of people really like to kind of be able to print their plan off. So we have the ability to do that. And then this is just kind of like a hint to let you know that if you upgrade, you get a meal plan every week, complete with weekend prep and grocery list, and access to the full library of recipes. But we'll come to that later. So right now, this is what you would have access to initially as a sample meal plan. This is completely free. You can keep this forever. It actually contains a few more recipes than we've included in the plan. And you can see here that we've broken it down into 5 days. So day 1, we have a lunch, a dinner, and a snack. Day 2 is lunch, a dinner, and a dessert. Day 3, again, lunch, a dinner, and a snack. Day 4, lunch, dinner, and dessert. And day 5. Now, the reason that we did 5 days is based on feedback that we had. Most people would have a couple of days where they would kind of be doing something else, either eating out or preparing, you know, a different meal on the weekends. A lot of people just felt that kind of 5 days was the most manageable realistic number of days that they would be cooking for. So we didn't want to overwhelm people, but we are actually working on the ability to add additional days and also add breakfast, which is something that a lot of people have requested. So that will be coming in an update fairly shortly. One of the nice things about the meal planner is that we try to eliminate the amount of cooking and prep that you have to do by using kind of the concept of leftovers. A lot of people do this naturally, but we actually kind of build this into the planner. So for instance, on day one, you would make the Cajun cauliflower bowl for dinner, and then you would have the leftovers potentially with a modification for lunch the next day. Again, we kind of do this throughout the week so that by the end of the week, really on day 5, you're hardly cooking anything at all, like your lunch and dinner are there. And that really helps to cut down on the amount of kind of work that you need to do throughout the week. What is interesting here is, let's say that I'm just really fed up with quinoa, I've had too much. I can actually just kind of go into the planner and I can swap out that recipe. And from there, I can choose any of the other recipes in the plan, or there are over kind of like 300 recipes in the archive that I can choose from. So I would choose veggie fajitas, and instantly that adds that into my plan in day 3. And my grocery list and weekend prep has all been updated automatically. The recipes are also designed to be like incredibly simple. So if I dive into kind of like the veggie fajitas recipe, we have really beautiful high resolution images. We break down the steps that you're going to need as clearly as possible. So we have a concept of getting ready and bringing it together. And getting ready is often just kind of like mise en place or preparing your produce for the recipe. And some of the time you're actually just going to do that on the weekend. So you won't even need to worry about this on a weeknight. And bringing it together is just kind of like the process of assembling everything and cooking it on the day. We also, provide you with kind of like all the groceries that you're going to need, as well as everything that you're actually going to need in the kitchen. I found that this was something that I really loved from some of the meal delivery services, is that they try to break everything down for you to make things as simple as possible, so that the minute you get into the kitchen, you can just take everything that you need out of the cupboards, put it on the counter, and then just start to kind of prepare your produce, and you have everything ready to go before you even start. And that's a really clever way to just save a bunch of time in the kitchen.
Pierre, can you give us an idea of how the grocery list is assembled using all this information? Can you maybe show us what that looks like?
Yeah, sure. So whenever you're ready to kind of like go shopping, you can take your grocery list with you on your phone. You can also print, just kind of point out, it's kind of cool. So with one click, you can say, hey, I want to print out all of the recipes in the plan. I want to print out my weekend prep and my grocery list. And that will create a PDF. So if you don't have Signal in the store, for instance, or if you just prefer to take everything with you on paper, you can actually do all of that there. But let's say that you kind of went to the store with this on your mobile device. This is what the grocery list would look like. So you can see that we've broken down kind of all of the ingredients that you're going to need. At any point as well, if you just need to kind of see how many cloves of garlic you need for each recipe, you can just hover over that or click a button on your mobile device and it'll tell you each of the recipes that those cloves of garlic are going to be used in. The other thing that's kind of cool is that where possible, we provide you with tips and notes about ingredients that might not be familiar to you or that you might not be able to locate easily. So one of the obvious ones here when people are transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle is like nutritional yeast. It gives things a really nice cheesy flavor. We give you some kind of little tips there on where to find them, and also where to buy kind of the type of brands that you might want to look for if you want to buy kind of oil-free marinara sauces. So we really try to make everything as simple as we can in the process of getting your groceries and knowing what to buy, so that you can kind of get in the store and get out pretty quickly.
This is great. And then if we go to the weekend prep tab over on the left-hand side, what will we see there?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll show you that. But the other thing that's kind of cool is, like, as you go through the store, you just check off the items that you have, and they'll remove themselves from your grocery list. So you can just kind of keep a tab on everything. And also, I was just going to say, if you just want to kind of pick up the ingredients for a specific recipe, you can also sort by recipe, which is handy, so that you can then just dive straight in and say, all right, I'm only going to make the Santa Fe penne tonight. Like, what do I need? So if something comes up and you're less organized than you'd like to be, you can just kind of like run to the store and just pick up the ingredients for a specific meal. So taking you through the weekend prep then. So the idea here is that on the weekend, so Saturday or Sunday, you'll do your grocery shopping and then spend an hour to 2 hours in the kitchen preparing kind of like the main components for the week ahead. And very often that's something simple like preparing grains. So we actually batch together all of the grains that you're going to need. So for the quinoa sweet potato salad and the Cajun cauliflower bowl, you're going to be needing 1.5 cups of quinoa. So we just tell you to cook that all together. We also kind of guide you through some basic kind of things like maybe baking the lemon bliss balls, which you might want as a dessert throughout the week, or steaming the sweet potatoes or the potatoes for the spinach potato tacos and the quinoa potato salad. And ultimately we just kind of guide you through all these simple tasks. And a lot of these are just like dice onion, mince garlic, juice the lemon. And in time, one really cool thing that we're working on is kind of grouping all of this together even more so that you can just kind of do everything at a glance. But it's very efficient, and a lot of people really love the weekend prep, as it just kind of means that when you come to actually preparing the meals, you have everything that you're going to need ready to go, and you can just throw it together.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
Let's.
There are a couple of other things too. I can give you kind of like a kind of a tour of the other little areas. So one other thing that's really going to help when you're kind of like transitioning to this lifestyle or just need recipe inspiration is just a big archive of recipes to draw on. And the really awesome thing about the meal planner is that all of our recipes, in the main, like I'd say 95% of them can be prepared in 30 minutes or less once you've done the weekend prep. So you instantly, when you upgrade, get access to over 300 recipes that are all quick, easy, low-fat, whole food, plant-based like recipes. And you can make any of these in a pinch, and you can swap any of these into your plan. Like these have locks because this isn't a full member account. But when you become a full member, you kind of like get access to everything. But all of the recipes have beautiful imagery. All of them are very quick and easy to prepare, and all of them are really delicious as well.
This is terrific. I mean, I'm sure people might be looking at the screen and they're thinking to themselves, I can really eat this food as a diabetic. And I hope by now, at this point in the summit, you guys totally realize that yes, you can. And these foods are beautiful. They're delicious. There's anything you could have on a regular diet you can have here as well, whether it's a taco or burritos.
There's some really good things in here, yeah. I mean, my favorites, so that there are a few recipes that I just absolutely love, like the Santa Fe penne, which I think is in the sample plan. So you can actually just try that straight away today. There's also a really nice watermelon slushy recipe, smothered sweet potatoes, bursting with berries cobbler. There's kind of everything that's in here that you would normally miss, I guess. There's just a huge number of recipes to choose from. So it is really fun just diving into your recipe books and looking for inspiration. And it's an interesting place to spend a few minutes on a weeknight when you're looking for something to prepare. Yeah. It's
really terrific. So if somebody wants to become a member and unlock all those recipes, how much does that cost?
Well, we wanted to make it as affordable as possible. So the full membership actually starts at $2.30 per week. That's if you subscribe to the annual plan. Things get a little bit more expensive from there as you kind of look towards like a monthly or a quarterly option. But yeah, if you subscribe to the annual plan, it's the equivalent of $2.30 a week.
$2.30 a week. That's it's pretty much a no-brainer.
Have everything kind of taken care of you. Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't get simpler than that. Okay, so Pierre, one of the things that I think people who are transitioning to a plant-based diet often experience is that their variety of foods is relatively small to begin with, and then over the course of times, it can become more complex as you learn how to make meals and as you learn how to diversify your food intake. So I think one of the things that I found very effective in your meal planning app was the recipe box, because there's so much variety in there. So could you maybe take us through that and show us exactly what types of meals people can actually create just by looking at those recipes?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I think one of the first things, as you say, is just figuring out what you can make. And you're going to have some different ingredients that you're going to be using, but it doesn't mean that you have to limit variety. I mean, this is just kind of like a taste of what the recipe box has. We have over 300 recipes in here, and this grows every single week. So with every weekly plan, you're actually going to get 3 new recipes, as well as kind of a mix of some old favorites, so that you're not constantly kind of having to prepare something that you're not familiar with. But we do kind of mix in kind of like new recipes, and we have everything in from kind of like green curry to pizza to veggie lo mein. There's some burgers in here too. So it's a veggie burger, kale dip, salads, casseroles, anything and everything that you could possibly miss can be found in the recipe box. And the list just goes on and on and on and on.
Unbelievable.
It's kind of cool. And one thing that's nice as well, so let's say that you kind of like, you just want to kind of make something with broccoli in, you can just kind of like type broccoli into the search box, and then you're going to kind of get all of the recipes that have broccoli in. So we've added search in there so that you can easily kind of like search by kind of like the main ingredients that you have in your fridge as well. So if ever you're in a pinch and if ever you kind of like just need to make something on the day of, you can dive into the recipe box, and there's just like literally hundreds and hundreds of really gorgeous kind of and delicious recipes that you can choose from. So I think that that's going to really help people kind of transition, or people understand just what a plant-based lifestyle can be. It's pretty fun and interesting, actually. There's a lot of choice.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting hungry just looking at these images. It happens every single time I open the meal planner app. I just get so hungry that I want somebody to actually put the food in front of me.
Yeah, there's some really berry ice pops. Yeah, I'm gonna go make some.
I mean, this has been really great, Pierre. Thank you for showing us. Just for everybody to know, they can get started for free. Like you saw there, you enter in your email, you create a password, it takes 20 seconds, and you're in. You can start enjoying this. So there's a link below this video, and we encourage people to get started, because we want people to start following this diet and see the results, see their insulin resistance start to reverse. This is a great way to get started.
And one other thing I'm going to actually say here is I'm going to put in a shameless plug here for Forks Over Knives as a general business, right? Forks Over Knives is, like Robbie was saying earlier, is designed specifically to help you with the transition towards a plant-based diet. So if you haven't seen the movie Forks Over Knives, you can watch it on Netflix. Highly recommend it. It tells you the science of plant-based nutrition that maybe you never learned before. And then on top of that, there's recipe books that you can purchase directly off of Amazon. There's apps. There's so many opportunities for you to actually learn and make the transition yourself become very easy. And so if you haven't already gotten inside the Forks Over Knives family and become part of their email list, highly recommend doing it. And getting on the Meal Planner app is just one of the many resources that they provide.
And for people who purchase the All Access Pass, they have an opportunity to win access to the Forks Over Knives Cooking School. So that's a really, really great way to learn how to make this food and really get great at working in the kitchen.
So thanks for taking the time to be with us here today, Pierre. I mean, you've done some stellar work. I mean, the web development that you've done looks just brilliant. And I know that you guys are making a huge splash in the world of plant-based nutrition. So thank you for everything that you do.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and good luck, everybody. And yeah, if you've any questions at all, you can kind of reach us in the meal plan and just send us a message. We'd be happy to help you. So look forward to it. Thank you.